Sonic X Shadow Generations is everyone's favourite recently released Sonic game, and it has 16 3D levels that's really just perfect or simply poop. With shortcuts, visually beautiful areas and just a fun atmosphere, some levels are really fun to play, while others, not naming names, want to make me throw my controller across the room out of pure anger. But today, we're going to be looking at all 16 of those 3D levels in Sonic X Shadow Generations, determine them in order, from pathetic to unreal. And if you want to see me rank any other Sonic game levels, then please do comment below which game you'd like to see ranked. Planet Wisp is probably the most loved level from Sonic Colors because of its boppy soundtrack and just because it's a visually appealing level, unlike my dusty PS5. Most of that is still here, don't get me wrong, but the level itself is the problem here. We've got platforms that don't respawn, mining carts that we have to stop and wait, but that should never be said in a Sonic game, rockets that are placed in really annoying areas, and the fact that most of this level is in 2D just does not fit the Boost Formula style gameplay in my opinion. The use of the Rocket Wisp isn't used well here either, because the platforming that comes with it is really annoying. That word sums my thought up on it. Look, I would honestly take Green Hill from Sonic Forces over this, because modern Sonic physics here are not great in this environment. Everyone's favourite level from Sonic 2 is placed here, and for good reason. Even though a lot of people like Chemical Plant because of its nostalgia or high speed you can get in it, if you don't happen to know where the right path is, then you're in for a nightmare. Because you get grapplers, the weird blue blobs, the yellow squares, and water. I still have the drowning music still in my head often. And I'm not a hater for the stage. It starts well with the 3D fast-paced section, but once you get into a 2D section, my excitement literally leaves the building. Because if you do not know the right path, and you get trapped in water, you're in for a rough ride, mate. And that tells you enough about that level. Don't get me wrong here, Heroes is a great game, but I dislike this level for the same reasons that I said with Chemical Plants. The only reason why it's above Chemical Plant is because we're at a nice sunny beach with an ocean monument, rather than a huge dark gritty lab with pink water and yellow cubes that frustrate me more than people not hitting the subscribe button. I do like how this level comes with a racing track in the middle of it though, because if you screw up, then you're either just going to get really frustrated, or you're just going to have a really nice time on a race car, which I'm pretty sure that they got the Sonic Team Racing controls from it, because it definitely feels like there was some inspiration there. But Seaside Hill is really fun in my opinion, because it just feels so vibrant when compared to Chemical Plant. But again, the only reason why it's so low is just simply because water. That's all I have to say for it. I really dislike the water levels in Sonic games. Not to say that they aren't bad, it's just bad. Moving on. I really dislike Radical Highway here. There was a lot of hype around this return due to nostalgia, and it's easy to see why. This level is meant to be a test of the player's abilities and to see how well they know how to play the game. And in this case, it's a huge difficulty spike from the last levels in Shadow Generations. There's a huge gap between the players who decide to use the Doom Wings or not. One group has an easy time, and the others are raging over the platform sections, and you can guess which group is which. Besides, I would say that this is probably the least visually appealing level in both Sonic and Shadow Gen, but it's not a bad stage, it's just not fun. I struggled with this one, but I'm going to put Crisis City at 12. It would be much higher if it wasn't for the 2D lava section that takes up the second half of the stage. The first half is amazing, recreating how it's meant to be 06 and how the city is being destroyed as we run through it. However, while the whole stomping on lava to get collectibles idea is cool, I feel like it should have been done in the 3D section, or at least something left for classic Sonic to do, because with modern Sonic slipperiness, controlling him is as slippery as a dog going on ice. But then again, classic Sonic can't stomp, so I guess it couldn't really be done in his levels, but I think it would have been much higher on my list if it wasn't because of this 2D stomping section, but that part of the level really just weighs it down for me. Radical Highway Act 2 with a 3D stage, so I'll count it in. And the same things I said for Act 1 remain the same. However, the reason why it's higher than Act 1 and Crisis City is because while this stage is visually less appealing than Crisis City, it is a true test of your ability as a Sonic player in general. If we're discounting the Doom abilities, all your skills are put to the ultimate test. However, if I'm to give one nitpick, the monsters that we see in this level are just for show off, not for fight, because we can take them out in like 3 or 4 hits, tops. However, I will say that the use of free fall and moving platforms was used really well in this stage. And of course, this is all my opinion, so if you disagree, and that's alright, and comment below how do you rank these stages. I do like this stage when it comes to the rest of the levels, but there is just such high competition. The reason why it's lower than the other Shadow stages is because it has the least happening in it. All the other levels in Shadow Gens seem to have like a Doom Illusion section, however this level just does not have it. And unlike the other stages, this level is just plain old grey and drab. I know that's how Chaos Island is meant to be, but you know, just when you compare it to all the other levels in Sonic and Shadow Gens, it just doesn't really appeal to me. Again, it's just grey old and drab when you have, you know, Sunset Heights or Green Hill to compare in it. But to top it all off, this is the tutorial stage for the not so great Doom ability that is quite clunky. But I will say that I really like the fact that the Frontier assets were used here, because it definitely makes this level feel like it was part of Frontiers. And also, when are we going to see Shadow and Frontier itself? I'm pretty sure he was there. I'm pretty sure he was on Chaos Island that day when Sonic beat Knight. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure he was there. I was struggling where to put this one, but I think it deserves spot 11. It's Green Hill, we've seen it hundreds of times, and even though this level is long, easy and fun, a lot of levels definitely go ahead of it by far. It really is a level that you may do over and over again just for fun, but when you compare it to all the other stages, it's visually not as nice, it's quite saturated, and it's mostly holding the boost button if you ask me, but I really do like the stage either way. I love Speed Highway. It's a very fun level that recreates the feeling of a police chase in Sonic form. Not to mention you've got several posters in the background with funny jokes like Chaos Gelato, like this is the Italian level. But overall, I just love the interaction that this level has. You have the riding down the missile, riding on a helicopter, going down roads, running down the side of a building away from the police. It just makes me so hyped whenever I play it again. Not to mention, the shortcuts that this level has are just so fun to discover, because most of them are in plain sight and you just don't even realize it. Honestly, I just love the vibe that this level just gives off, because you are literally in a big city and you get to ride on a missile into another building. I mean, how cool is this? Now, I feel like this is a bit of a controversial one, but when it came to Rail Canyon and Speed Highway, I decided that Rail Canyon should be at 7, because visually, this level is stunning. The use of Chaos Control is used really well here. The whole switching rails mechanic is very fun, and the Doom illusion this level has was actually quite fun in a very strange way when you manipulate the physics here. Not to mention the trains that almost crush you add quite a nice touch to the environment, make it actually feel like a railway. But Speed Highway is really, really close in my opinion, because it too is a very good level, but I'm just gonna put Rail Canyon above it, sorry. I've been holding back on Sky Sanctuary for quite a while now. I was actually going to put it in 13th, but I decided to put it up to 6th, because I just realised how great this level is. We've got great music, pretty good visuals for 2012, and pretty much a flawless level. I mean, there are multiple pathways, and some need skills and other paths for beginners. The obstacles are like bouncy clouds, which are always a welcome sight when I play with this level, and the egg robots just really make me feel nostalgic to me, because I rarely see these guys. Well, I don't think we've actually seen them since Sonic Mania, come to think. No, Sonic Frontiers, to be correct. But Sky Sanctuary, flawless. I love this level, but I feel like there are others better than it. As an opening level to Shadow Generations, this level in my opinion is also flawless. Chaos Control is used to make some pretty fun shortcuts and traversal parts, and it easily teaches new players exactly how to play the game, and what all the mechanics are. And even when you revisit the level, there are some platforming sections like teleporting through a laser grid, which wouldn't even be possible as Sonic. I've even found some new shortcuts when playing this level for a 5th time, so it sort of proves the point that there are definitely a lot of different shortcuts in this game, which makes a good Sonic level. And visually, this level is gorgeous. It really reminds me of my first Sonic game, which was Forces, and how my favourite level at that time was Bedefic, and it really reminds me of the scene where he just grinds off into the distant void of space. Not to mention the cutscene that plays when you freeze the missile coming at you. Is this Sonic team making this? Because honestly, this is incredible. Far beyond what Forces ever could have imagined, that's for sure. And all the little chaos that you fight here are really interesting to see since they're related to SA2. But overall, this level is just peak. Speaking of SA2, this level is based on the legendary level from Adventure 2. And capitalizes everything good about it. The skateboarding, the truck, and all the shortcuts, which definitely allow for there to be some skill required instead of just holding down the boost for a couple of the other levels. Plus, pretty much everything about this level is great. You've got the skateboarding section, a banger soundtrack, a truck that forces you to pay attention while playing, and again, some really good shortcuts, and that makes you feel like you're playing a Tony Hawk game. But honestly, I would say the best thing about this level is definitely the soundtrack for me. Because I think a lot of Sonic fans can agree with me when I say that when you hear the opening to City Escape, you just get chills. Kingdom Valley is a jungle of shortcuts and different paths, and I would say that it's probably the most known level from Low 6, and it was done justice, because this is probably a level that is more open world than anything. As Chaos Control allows for Doom Blast to be used, which leads into more different pathways if you look hard enough. I genuinely don't know how many paths there are, because there seems to be more than 10 or 15. Also, the return of the Eagle and the Wind Rails just feels right, because we haven't had something like this in ages, not to mention a remix soundtrack. Flawless. This music makes you feel like you're playing the adventure that this game is meant to offer. And while I'm on the topic, can we talk about why smashing windows in Sonic games is so satisfying? I mean, the moment in this level when you fly through 2 windows is just so iconic, and the soundtrack, again, that goes with this level just hits so hard when you just remember the last level that was 06. Now, for one of Sonic's best levels, Rooftop Run. I don't care what you say, this level is a masterpiece. There are shortcuts, it's a nice scene to look at, balances skill well, and the music is a vibe. And again, it's just overall plain fun, which is just needed in a Sonic game nowadays. I mean, you just run up a clock tower into a colourful balloon festival, destroy public property by running through windows, and running across rooftops, hence the name, I guess. The atmosphere, the music, when combined with this bright colourful city, is just one I just can't forget. In my opinion, it was always the best level from Unleashed, and it's still an engaging level to this day in this game. Now, I may be biased on this one, but seeing as Sonic Forces was my childhood Sonic game, I believe that this level is an example of peak Sonic levels. It's got the scene that goes hardest in this game. It's got all the sunset and reflection, which just brings it to life, and not to mention, it's got the coolest use of chaos control throughout the game, when you have to freeze asteroids to find a shortcut. You have to admit, Sonic Team cooked how they somehow revived a dead Sonic game back to life with this level. It feels like there's an actual war now, instead of just an empty burning village, which is just everything that the original Forces was meant to be. I don't have any complaints about this level, except for the fact that the Doom Illusion section was a bit hard to master at first. But unlike that, Sonic X Shadow Generations is a spectacular game that takes us through, mostly, every Sonic game's prime stage. But thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment below how you would rank these Sonic stages.